It is 2 hours past midnight, and Rome is screaming. Not with violence, with wheels. Iron-rimmed cartwheels on stone. Thousands of them, echoing down every street in the city. By law, delivery carts may only enter Rome at night. So while 1 million people try to sleep, the city is fed, stocked, and rebuilt in the dark. You are already awake. You have to be. You are a baker, and in Rome, bread does not wait for the sun. You sleep in a small room above your bakery in a wooden apartment block called an insula, 5 stories of creaking timber and borrowed sleep. Your room is the warmest in the building. That's not a luxury. That's the oven below you, still holding yesterday's heat in its bricks. You dress in the dark, a wool tunic, a leather apron stiff with flour. You don't wash, that comes later, at the baths. You whisper a word to the small shrine in the corner, Vesta, keeper of the hearth, Fornax, spirit of the oven. A baker insults neither. 30 years ago you were property. You were born a slave, sold at 9, and spent 2 decades learning this trade in another man's bakery. Then your master freed you and lent you the money to open your own shop. You are a freedman now, a citizen almost. Your son will be one fully. In Rome, bread built more fortunes than swords. You intend to prove it again today. Downstairs, your world is 3 rooms: the mill, the kneading tables, and the oven. Your 2 workers are already lighting the fire. One a hired man, one a slave you own. You and self. You don't think of that as a contradiction. Almost no one in Rome does. The oven is a brick dome the size of a small hut, and it must reach full heat before the first hour of daylight. From a clay jar you take the soul of your bakery, the leaven, a living scrap of yesterday's dough, sour and bubbling. Every loaf you have ever baked is descended from it, like a family line. Lose it, and you lose the taste your customers cross the district for. In the mill room, a blindfolded donkey walks in circles, turning a massive hourglass-shaped stone. Grain pours in the top. Coarse flour spills out below. The grinding never really stops. Rome eats between 300 and 500 tons of grain every single day, and nearly all of it arrives by ship from Egypt and Africa, counted, taxed, because it is treasure. Emperors have fallen over late grain ships. You sieve the flour, salt it, mix it with water and leaven, and then you knead. An hour of it, shoulder deep, until your arms burn. This is why bakers are built like wrestlers. The first loaves go in as the sky turns grey. Each one is round, scored into 8 wedges so it can be torn by hand, no Roman slices bread, and stamped with your mark, Quintus. The stamp isn't vanity, it's law and reputation in one. If a loaf is underweight, the magistrates know exactly whose oven it came from. At sunrise, you open the shop front, and Rome is already queuing. A slave girl buying for a rich household, a builder who eats his loaf walking, an old soldier who complains about the price every morning and has never once bought elsewhere. A loaf costs 2 copper coins, a laborer earns 16 a day. Bread is cheap by design. The state makes sure of it, because 1/3 of this city receives free grain every month, the dole. 200,000 names on the lists. Many bring their ration to you and pay only for the milling and the fire. Your best batch, the fine white loaves, you set aside. Those go to houses on the hill, where bread is judged like wine. The dense, dark loaves go to everyone else, and honestly, you prefer them. There are more than 300 bakeries in Rome. Every one of them lives or dies by dawn. Mid-morning, the shop falls quiet in the wrong way. A man in a clean toga steps in, flanked by an assistant carrying a bronze scale. He works for the aedile, the magistrate who polices Rome's markets. Weights, prices, honesty. He doesn't greet you, he simply picks 3 loaves from your shelf. Not the front ones, he knows that trick. You know a baker 2 streets over who was caught selling light loaves last spring. He was fined half a season's profit, and the story ran faster than any fire. His queue has never come back. The first loaf balances true. The second, true. The third hangs for a heartbeat, then settles level. The inspector nods, marks a wax tablet, and leaves without a word. Your hired man exhales. You go back to work as if your pulse hadn't doubled. But this is the truth of your trade. In Rome, bread is politics. Emperors keep their thrones with grain and games, bread and circuses. The poets sneer. When bread is honest, the city is calm. When it isn't, bakeries burn first. By the 6th hour, noon, the shelves are nearly bare, and Rome's working day is ending. Yes, ending. Romans front-load their lives into the daylight morning. Afternoon is for the baths. You eat standing up. Yesterday's bread, cheese, olives, a splash of sour wine cut with water. Then you bank the oven's fire, set tomorrow's leaven aside in its jar, always first, never forgotten, and walk to the neighborhood baths. For 1 small coin, the price of a mouthful of wine, you get hot pools, cold plunges, steam, gossip, and an hour of being no one's baker. Around you, senators, secretaries, and dock workers sweat in the same room. The baths are the most Roman thing in Rome. Everyone equal, briefly, and everyone pretending not to look at everyone else. You talk shop with 2 other bakers from your guild, the Collegium of Pistores. Part trade union, part dinner club, part burial society. The guild fixes disputes, lobbies magistrates, and will one day pay for your funeral. One of its greatest members, a baker named Eurysaces, grew rich enough to build himself a tomb shaped like a giant bread oven. Romans still point at it. Some laugh. You don't. A slave's grandson, remembered forever in stone, that is the whole promise of this city in one monument. Home before dark, because after dark, the carts return, and the streets belong to noise, and worse. Dinner is the day's one long meal. Bean stew, greens, eggs, your own bread, always your own. You'd sooner starve than eat a rival's. Shared with your wife and son at a small table by lamplight. Your wife keeps the shop's accounts on wax tablets. She is better at it than you are, and both of you know it. Your son practices his letters. You watch him shape words you couldn't read at his age. That, right there, is why the 2 of you knead dough in the dark. He will never be property. He was born free, a citizen of Rome entire, and Rome, whatever else it is, lets a baker's son rise. You sleep before the city does, while the carts scream past your shutters and the oven's warmth climbs through the floorboards. In a few hours you'll wake and do it all again. The leaven, the fire, the queue, the scale that must always balance. History remembers Rome by its emperors and its legions, but an empire is a simple machine wearing a golden mask. It is a promise that tomorrow there will be bread. For 2 centuries of Roman peace, That promise was kept every single dawn by tens of thousands of people exactly like you. The legions guarded Rome. The bakers kept it Rome. Tomorrow, it's 2 a.m. again. If you want to live another day in another century, one is waiting for you right here.